Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode on High On Feminism. Happy New Year. We are kicking off the new year with an amazing creator, founder of Solia Retreats, Kornelia Grönvall. Welcome, Kornelia.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
So excited to be here. Sometimes I like to give people BTS moments. So, we tried to record this a couple weeks ago. I'm very bad at technology, so that didn't really happen.
It was a journey, but
It was, but now we're here. It's a new year. We have a bunch of great things to talk about. I always love to just kind of preface the audience on how I build some of these relationships. And with you, it was July.
yes, it was my first event with Juno. So,
Yes, I feel so honored. Yeah, so you came to our event. What I have been trying to do here is like slowly integrate myself into Juno House. And so I was like, okay, why don't I set up, just an explanation of who we are, as a PR company, basically, for relationships, for clients, all of that good stuff. And I remember, I think we were meeting with Marta at the time. And she was like, oh, she's coming to your event. So I was like, great, I love this. And so you came to our event here in Juneau. And then from there, I learned about Solia Retreats from you. And it was just, for me, I was like, oh my God, this is like something that I've always thought about doing too, especially from a PR side of things.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to find ways to like bring clients or press into spaces and really have like that organic sort of like wellness experience. But tell me, it's obviously very new. How did you think about and start Solia Retreats?
Yeah. So first of all, like I was super excited for that first session when we met each other. It was the first one. And I was like, okay, this could be interesting and in English as well. Yeah, it was very nice to meet you there. And then now we talked more about the retreats as well during this autumn. And for Zulia, it started this year. So as you said, it's still very new. It started more as a source of energy and inspiration, more as a small hobby, I would say.
Okay.
And then now like growing into something that I hope more women will be able to experience. And this is what we're looking to also grow and create different retreats, experiences for now 2026 as well. But I feel like also the journey with Zulia, as always, when we create something, it starts from ourselves, right? So it's always also a personal journey in the background, and same for Zulia and for myself. So I would say like it goes even like way back,
Yeah.
a few years. Coming from corporate as well, and that very hectic work-life balance that is hard to navigate. And for me, it was I was in corporate for a few years, and it was all about like performing, always pushing forward. I know I have to take responsibility of myself as well, like blame myself a little bit for being that hard on myself as well. Capricorn, as I know, as well. Um, but yeah, a few years with like always goals, always pushing, moving forward, like never an ending of things, going towards the next promotion, the next thing, next goal. And at one point, I was just like, no, I cannot do this anymore. I also wanted to be creative, and I knew that there was something more fulfilling, more energized for me out there. So that's why I also like took a step back from that corporate.
What part of like the corporate industry were you in?
So first I was in sales and then management and leadership also for a few years.
Okay.
And I learned a lot. Like I don't regret it at all, of course, as we should not do with things we experience.
Yeah. Everything's a learning experience.
Always. And I mean, now also it grew something beautiful out
Yeah.
from those learnings. But yeah, I learned a lot about people, of course, like leading, like working with people. That's something that I still want to do. So I mean, I'm also able to do that with Solia, but I couldn't do it like as much as I want, or I couldn't spend as much time with the people as I wanted to. Of course, because there's a lot of other parts working with the operations than as I did. Yeah, learned a lot about business, company strategy, myself in general. So I definitely like take that with me. And I try not to, since it was a few years of a lot of learnings, but also a lot of downs. I try not to also not define myself or think about it like too much. Like I do want to just take with me the learnings, leave that a little bit in the past, and believe that it's possible to work hard and have ambitions, but not burn out.
Yeah. I mean, that's all corporate environments do, honestly. It's just like, yeah, it's always like, what's the next goal? What's the next goal? And you're constantly like stressed, you're overwhelmed, you're getting burnt out. And that's a lot of the reason why, like, we as women end up starting our own businesses, because we become so fed up in the corporate model that doesn't support us or understand, like, we just don't operate the same way that men do. And so men are sometimes so driven by that sort of like stereotypical like male society plays where it's like, I gotta make money and I gotta do this and blah 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 blah. And like women are more so like, yes, I want to make money and be successful, but I also don't want to like become a shell of myself in the process, which I think is like so important when we do take that leap. Like when I was in corporate, oh God, it was terrible.
Yeah, you also did this full journey, I know.
I hated going into the office. I hated the idea of like, it felt like, my boss was just like over my shoulder, watching everything that I did. And I needed a change. And I think it's so important when we recognize that in ourselves and we feel that burnout. And obviously, like having a retreat space is like the best way to kind of like move out of that and sort of like re-heal yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, honestly, maybe it sounds a bit cliche, but like to create something that I needed. Honestly, like I needed to have a space where I could reconnect and recharge, take a step back, pause, but also what I say with Julia, maybe most of all, like find a bit new inspiration. Because it also is not always about slowing down, taking it chill, relax, like that is very important as well. But it's also about like reconnecting to our core values.
Yeah.
And where do I find my energy? And maybe it's about my surroundings or friends or a conversation or just a bit of like new inspiration together, of course, with a pause. But that can be a source of recharge as well, to refill with new energy and inspiration.
That's great that you say that, because I feel the same way. It's like, yes, I want to have those moments where I am sort of like, shutting down my brain for a while.
Too,
but sometimes, especially as an entrepreneur and a woman in business, you're also thinking about the fact of like, I am burnt out in the sense of like my creative battery is like empty. And what can I do to like recharge that creative battery? So not just on like a personal level of like your everyday movements, but like being able to show up for your business in a creative way, like no matter what part of the business people are working in, it does require you to be, thinking of new ideas and new connections and new brands. And if you're like just at zero, which like,
I mean, life happens.
Definitely been at zero a few times the last few months. Yeah, it's great to have. Obviously, your most recent retreat was in December, which unfortunately I missed. And I really wanted to go because I feel like that's what I need. It's sort of that like recharge on all fronts. But I've seen nothing but like positive feedback and everything. Like how did it go? Like this was what number retreat was this one that you've done in
It was
2025?
yes, it was our second retreat
Okay.
experience. So again, it's very new. We had one in the end of the summer, so end of summer retreat. And what we do also to add is that we do 1 day retreats.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, actually, I had the idea of like, okay, of course, I want to do a weekend retreat, a 1 day retreat, but then I also learned throughout these months already that okay, I do need to niche it down, and that's where the idea came up with actually like doing smaller retreat experiences, like
Mm-hmm.
1 day retreats, which again, as you said, like it has been going very well and very positive feedback so far. So yeah, it was in December we did it as a grounding and off-year retreat, and also to set a little bit intentions now for the beginning of 2026.
Yes.
And it was a self-love focused retreat.
Okay.
Something I felt like I needed myself
Yes.
also, like when I started to create it. And now, like when going a bit end of the year, like we need to be kind to ourselves,
Yes.
like understanding how we grew throughout the year, that we actually grew from our experiences and learnings, and understand also that, yeah, the timeline we had in mind is not always the timeline that will be. It's
Yeah.
okay. So be kind to ourselves, but also show up for connections, new inspiration. Also, we had self-love yoga flow, so the heart opening poses.
Okay.
And then we also had a journaling moment, which was new for me to hold. Like I do a lot of journaling myself,
Okay.
but to hold it as a group, I was like, how will it be? I don't want it to feel forced. It should be, a relaxing moment,
Yeah.
and not have it, as a goal. Like I'm they are like giving questions and like, no, you should
Yeah.
write this and that. Like, no, I wanted to feel very just like,
Organic.
yeah,
Yeah.
organic, like genuine, relaxed. And actually, like afterwards, that was one feedback from many of the women and guests that we had. They said like this was one of their favorite moments of the afternoon.
Yeah.
Some said like, yeah, I don't do a lot of journaling, but now I tried and it was so relaxing. I'm gonna continue doing it like for next year, and a good way of like reflecting and set some intentions for next year. So I'm very happy for that.
Yeah.
And again, like sometimes the things that we are like a bit worried about like turn out to be
They turn out to be
the
fine.
best.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very happy for that, and also
That's great.
for me to just hear the word like inspiring, or someone got inspired. That's what I aim for to feel. And of course, it can be in different ways, like inspired to be more social, or
Yeah.
yoga, workout, or just
A little bit of
reflecting.
everything. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the important thing. Like for like Western culture, so like the US, it is gravitating more towards that retreat style. And, I think it's like the people who are going to those retreats, they understand like what is happening there. So they're ready for it. So journaling is such an important thing to do. Like, I think I was telling you, like, my therapist, sometimes I get really annoyed with her during our sessions because I'll be like, here are all my problems. She's like, have you journaled?
Yeah. You're
And I'm like,
"No."
girl, I'm not paying you to tell me to journal every single time. But then it's like when I do carve out time in my day to journal, or, you know, sometimes for me, like I got a lot to say. So writing it with my like pen and paper, as much as I love doing it, I can't get it all out. So sometimes I'll just sit on my laptop and be like, here are all my thoughts.
Yeah.
And then it's such a freeing environment. And I can only imagine like being in that space where everyone is there intentionally, and to feel, potential vulnerability in that moment, to be able to have, some time to really just be like, where am I at? And like, I don't know if you guys shared them, but like, what do I want to share with these people? And I think when you allow people that opportunity, they have the reaction that they had, which is like, actually, this was amazing.
Yeah.
Like, And I think that's so important. And when you're talking about, building this because it's something that you felt like you were missing, that's a lot of times like where companies come from. They're seeing sort of that gap or, that missing piece within the market or the industry or their lives. And so they're like, okay, well, I don't see this and I need this, so I'm going to create it. And that's like one of the most beautiful things about being an entrepreneur, like that's how I started my company. Like, more so because I was like, I hate all these male-run PR firms. They all suck. Like, I want an office environment that is X, Y, and Z. And so after a while, I was like, I'm just going to create that office environment for myself.
Exactly. As I know, you said also with you seeing there with your boss and how maybe he handled your relationship or the company, and you had one client, you're like, actually, I could do this on my own. I could have more clients.
So much easier, honestly. I mean, obviously, we're both members of Juno House. You started here in July 2025. I mean, I only started in March, so not even like that far after you. And like I was saying, by the time summer hit last year, I was like, I need to be like more active, even though I was like still in my moving process, still in my like getting acclimated to like the time difference with clients. And so, what was your first few months as a member here at Juno House?
Yeah, it has been great in the way of, as you say, like networking. Like for me, I really wanted to find this space with, first of all, like women, and a space to network in the right surroundings. I want to go to events and knowing that I meet like other inspiring, ambitious, like just warm women. We're all like doing our own thing, and for me, I don't mind in any industry I meet, like what anyone is doing, but just to connect and hear the experience, like goals, but also that like well-being, and now like talking about retreats as well, like health and well-being is so integrated here as well. I feel for the women that we talk to. So I think for me, like that's the most special part of being here and for these few months as well, the networking, the events. I just have a space to go to. Also, like if I don't feel like sitting at a new cafe, like I know this feels a little bit home here. And start to make friends as well. Like, of course, in the beginning, it's about networking, meeting, connecting. But also now you're saying hi, or like grab a coffee or lunch. Like now we have this episode here. Like I think that's amazing. I'm very thankful for that.
We always have to start somewhere, and that was my thing too. It's just like I found this place through a relationship I had built at the beginning of 2024. At the beginning of 2024. I was like prepping for my move, and I was like to my team, I'm like, okay, let's start like reaching out to some people like in Barcelona just to like introduce ourselves, let them know I'm moving. And I built this relationship with another PR firm here, Dina. Shout out to Dina. And when I came in May of 2024, she was like, oh, why don't you meet me at Juno House? You can check it out. We can have a meeting, etc. And I came in and like just from the aesthetics, I was like, what is this place? Like,
I mean, that is also a big part of
heaven I've just walked into. And
pictures, content.
it's like everything. I was like, oh my God, like colors, like everything was so great. And even now when I'm in here, it's like I can be having, we just moved. So the last like couple of weeks I've been working from my home office because we've been getting deliveries and all that stuff. But even just being here today, like I came in super early to get some work done and catch up, even though I don't normally work on Mondays. And I was just like, I don't know, I just felt so like grounded and centered being here and felt so much calmer. And, my husband's always like, you're always at Juno. And I'm like,
of course, how could I not?
It's just a different environment. And sure, maybe when I like finish decorating my office and everything, I'll feel differently about that. But I just genuinely enjoy coming here because even though sometimes I'm not always like communicating with other people, I just like being around. Like when I started my company, I lived with a roommate, so I didn't have an office. and I was going to coffee shops a lot.
Mm.
And it's like sometimes it's hard to really focus in coffee shops, especially if you have to take
I mean,
calls,
yeah.
the espresso machines grinding in the back. And so to have like a place that wasn't my home, but was also like aesthetically pleasing and just energy wise felt good. Like that's what I've been
Yeah.
wanting and needing.
Is that your favorite part with Juno? Like
think
the place or space itself?
Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
space in general is my favorite part. I do love now that I was like I was very like so like, oh, what's going on? Like when I
Yeah.
first got here because everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, hi," talking to each other. And I was like, "Oh, these people are so popular. Like,
Yeah.
who are they?" But then I just realized that like you do tend to build these relationships that don't necessarily have to be like business driven.
Exactly.
Like, yes, I always love a collaborative effort, but I also like the idea of like one of the reasons I left corporate is because I didn't want to be in that office environment where it felt like all we had to do was talk about work.
Exactly.
And here, like, yeah, sometimes we're like, oh, what are you working on now? But there's also just genuine, like, how are you?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And just a fun energy, like on the events as well. As you say, it doesn't have to be like work talks.
Yeah.
It can be just like as you meet a friend, but maybe you haven't met really before. So I really enjoy that as well. And also the idea of just like, okay, I don't have to like text someone to meet someone today, but I can just go to Juno and maybe there is someone, to chat with, or that I know, or to an event, like network a little bit. It feels.
One of the things that I feel like I've done well as an entrepreneur is understanding like the power of networking. I have some clients, to be honest, that just like they just don't seem to understand it. And especially because they want that like immediate, quick turnaround. And something that like my mom always said to me when I was younger too, and I never understood until like the last couple of years, was like the power of me being able to hold relationships, and that's what networking is. It's not, you shouldn't always expect like the person that you meet that day, like all of a sudden they're going to be like, here's a check for this much money because I have this opportunity.
Yeah.
It's something that needs to be nurtured. And especially if you want to do good business, like respected. And that's what I like here. It's like, yes, of course, when I first got here, my business mindset was like, almost any member in here could be a client.
Yeah.
Like,
Go for it.
Yeah, I was like, every single person could be a client. But, like when I started realizing too that like I was missing the friendship side of it.
Yeah, you're like, these are actually my friends.
And I was just like, okay, like, but that's the thing, like even friendships can deliver something to us.
Of course.
You have good enough friendships and relationships with people. Maybe they don't personally have something, but maybe when they're in other conversations, they're like, oh my God, I actually know this person that does this, and she's a really great friend, and I think this would be great. And relationships build that way. And that's something that I enjoy about like Juno House. And
because we want to give that to each other. That's what I love also coming here. Like a first conversation can really be like, oh, but you want to go into that area, or you're looking for that partnership or retreat space. Like, oh, I know someone, like she's also here at Juno. She has her own studio, for example. It could be good for a next retreat from what you're telling me that you're looking for. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like, thank you. Like, I love that approach myself, but it's really, I mean, as they say, like collaboration over competition, which I really feel here, it's strong. And even if it's, as you said as well, like not only about the partnership side, it's also like friendships, but we're also in the same boat on that. Like I'm sure that we're all looking for the right friendship, but we're also open for the partnership and collaboration. So I feel like it's in a very genuine way. Like if someone is suggesting something, like, yes, thank you, that could be great, and then we can also chat as friends. Like,
exactly.
It's very genuine, and if it works, it works. Otherwise, we just chat about something else, or another time, like another opportunity will come up that could be a better fit for a collaboration or or so.
I love that. So while you were just starting to be a member in July 2025. You've actually lived here for 5 years?
Yeah, now in January,
Yeah.
it's actually 5 years.
That's crazy.
So now the time flies.
I know. It does fly. It's crazy.
Yeah, really crazy. And also because I came here like 5 years ago, and I thought like I would be here for 1 year. I came to do my master's. I knew I wanted to do it abroad, but I was like, no, Barcelona is only for studying, for the weather, of course, like having fun.
Yeah.
Of course.
Party.
Like going out, like study. But then, of course, I would go somewhere else because I do want to work. I want to work hard. I have my goals, my ambitions, and for sure, I couldn't do that in Spain.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know, of course. But then after that year, I was still like hesitating for some time if Barcelona was the right space. But I really see now, like from year to year, like how many opportunities there are actually here, and especially in this space we are now in, like entrepreneurship, wellness. That there's a lot of opportunities, and I mean now I'm here to stay.
Now I'm just here for now. Well, so you came originally, did you come directly from Sweden or was there like a stopping point?
Yeah,
Okay.
so I lived in Sweden for my whole life, like until I moved here. Yeah.
What would you say are some of the differences just in lifestyle between like Barcelona and Sweden?
Yeah, I'm laughing because it was such a like special experience when it comes to this. I mean, in Sweden, it's a different approach when it comes to culture, of course, same as from US, like from where you are. And I think my biggest surprise, like very early on, was the time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, me as a person, but also in Sweden in general, like everyone's on time. Like to be on time, you are late.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's an American thing too.
yeah, like you should be like 10 minutes before at least.
Yeah.
And when I came here, I remember one specific situation a lot from school. It was like the first week or weeks, and we had one Italian friend in our group, and we were supposed to meet at 1, let's say. And I remember he was like 45 minutes late, and I was like, wow. Like, is that possible? That was so surprising for me. Like, I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
Now, of course, that's more normal to be a little bit late, and like I still have to adapt a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I have a close friend that is, you should say to me, but you know by now, like this is how it goes. Like, why are you early?
Yeah.
Like, be late. And I'm like, yes, okay. So now it's more, now we know and we adapt. But that was my biggest surprise. Like, people are very late.
The time.
Yeah. The
They
time.
have such like a, not to say that they're French, but they have such a like a laissez-faire like lifestyle
Whatever.
where it's like, we don't want to rush. Like life is meant to be lived. And I do like that. And I don't know if it's like the American in me or just in general. Like I think for Americans, it's very much like time is money. So if like you're not here on time, like you're costing me money.
Yeah, like, I'm missing my time.
Yes. And for me, like, yes and no. I think for me, it's like I I do value my time, but not in the sense of like, oh, if you're late. Like, I just think it's more of like a respect thing.
I was gonna say for me, it's also about respect. Like now, again, 10 minutes, like that's fine. I'm even like at that bit. But 45, I'm like, you know what? Like I took this time now, and there should be respect also in the way of like what we put in our schedule, and then your life is busy. So
I also think it's like a situational thing as well. So like for me, living in New York the last 15 years, like if I'm throwing a house party and I say that the start time is like 8 p.m., I know, like, I already know off the top of my head, most people are not going to show up until like 9:30.
Exactly.
And that's fine. Like I'm fine with people who want to come a little bit early. That's why I say like 8 p.m. But I also understand that and that's what I think about when I quote times in New York. So if I'm like, okay, if I tell people that the time is 9, they're not going to show up till 10. So if I tell them it's 8, they'll show, like, you have to give like an hour window. things though that I won't negotiate with on time is like food, like lunch,
meeting,
yeah, like
coffee, even like a coffee chat. Like
yeah,
if I'm there like a scheduled this hour, 2 hours for our coffee chat, and then someone
yeah.
is, 30 minutes, 45 minutes late. Now, like fortunately
It
that is
just
not
feels
happening a lot anymore, but
thankfully.
back in school, let's say school times, that was a bit different.
If we're making plans for dinner, lunch, brunch, whatever, some sort of meeting or meet up, like you're getting maybe 15 minutes out of me. And if you haven't given me a very specific reason of like why you're late, like, oh my God, like, the train blew up or something like that's so crazy that like I have to be understanding, like I've decided that I'm just like leaving kind of because it's like it just feels disrespectful. And again, I don't know if that's just like an American mindset because we've been sort of like programmed to think that like, yeah, like my marketing teacher used to say like, if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. If you're late, it's unacceptable. And I have taken that with me for forever. Shout out Mr. Carty. But it's true. And I do think that is something very different here. Like timing is
exactly. But also what you said about just a little tips. No, but also what you said about home space. Remember when you had also your hosting, we also discussed that like a difference is also that from Sweden, but also you told me about your experience also from the US, like you usually invite, you have hostings home, and that is normal. Like you have a dinner home, maybe you go out afterwards, but it could just be home. But here, as we talked about, like it's not as often. Like if you invite home, like now it's like our friends know that we do it, but it's a bit more surprising, like, oh really, to your home? Like it's more about meeting out, so that's also another thing.
And that is what I like about Barcelona as well, is that like it is a very outdoor culture like centered thing, which I think is great because I'm definitely an outdoors person, but at the same time, like for me, I guess like my love language is just like hosting and cooking for people and just like creating a comfortable environment. And so, I love having people over.
And it feels a bit more personal as well. To like come to my space.
And I think that's why though, like almost they don't like to, is because they don't want to be too personal here.
Oh, that's why.
So they're like, oh, like I wouldn't want you to come see, like their home is like sacred to them, whereas like we are. And again, I think that's because too, their community space is outdoors. So even if it's like we're in the plaza and my apartment's upstairs, deal, like that's very different from them versus being like, come to my apartment, and see my personal life. Like I think that's very like reserved, I would say, for like family kind of deal.
Definitely.
Which I expect, but
yeah, for sure. Like now, I mean, we also, as you said, enjoy just being outside. And it also means that we live in a place where we can be outside. So that's very positive. I mean, another reason to be here and to stay here for the climate, the weather, the light. Like even now in January, we can sit outside and just have a jacket and enjoy.
And it's like some of the best, times I feel like I have.
So
and
no
that's
complaints on that. That is just something that's different.
Definitely.
What are some other like differences that you also now experience?
I've noticed here. I mean, I would say that's like the most different one. I mean, obviously from a very American perspective, like not having a dryer is like a very big difference for us.
Okay.
I am getting used to it now that I have, been here for a year. I'm like very used to it, but sometimes, like I'm like, I just want to stick my bed sheets in the dryer for 5 minutes and then just like wrap up in them. But for the most part, I mean, the food quality is a lot better here, I will say too. Like I've actually never been to Sweden. It's on my bucket list. I want to go, but think that the food quality here is just like so much better than in America or
Yeah.
United States.
No, it's and also the way of like experiencing the food. Of course, like tapas we share.
Yeah.
That's something that's also very different. Like in Sweden, like even if I would say the food is really good, it's way more like you order your dish, you eat that with your glass of wine.
Yes.
And then
Not sharing.
no.
Yeah.
And then when people come here, like even for trips, like friends visiting, like, oh yes, of course we're gonna have tapas. Oh, we're gonna share that. Like, yes.
Yeah.
I cannot remember now the last time I went out for like my own eating in my own dish. Like, yes, it happens, but
Yeah.
more often it's sharing. Yeah.
Which I like. And that's one of the things that I definitely like here because I think that portion sizes are obviously astronomical in the US. And so coming here, it's like we had friends that came from they're like, I'm hungry. I need more. I need more. And I'm just like, but that's the point is you're supposed to be eating like healthier, heartier things in smaller bite sizes to really like regulate your system.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, like we're not supposed to be having this like influx of calories all the time. Like that's why there's such a obesity problem in the US, you know? And not that there's not anyone that's obese here in Barcelona. I just really haven't seen that many like larger people
Exactly.
here.
I think it's just another mentality when it comes to food. It's like we share small portions, and I think they eat more often also. It's like pre-meal and then meal, but it's a few tapas, and then it's a pre-meal for the lunch and then lunch, but everything is like petite.
Yeah, it's spaced out really nicely.
And also what we also discussed on the lunch there, that there is no need to like eat until we're 100% full, like the Asian way of Japanese way, I think, for seeing also food and that experience, that 80%, that's enough. And
take some. So obviously, like 2026, we're in a new year, new well, like same amazing us, but maybe like a few things are different, you know? What are some of your like 2026 goals?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, now also with Solia, but I think it also goes to myself. Like I do want to create these like 1-day retreats during now 2026, and find these inspiring moments during these retreats. But also something that comes back to like my own journey and that I have worked on now also this year before starting Solia even, is to dare to say no. Also, like there's a lot of opportunities around now also at Juno House, as we said. But it's just good to like really say no to what is not like fully aligned, or it doesn't really feel 100%, because it just means that we create space for something else. Even now, like during 2025, like last year, before I started Zulia, and in between like quitting corporate and then like beginning with Zulia, like there were opportunities coming up, like jobs I could apply to or say yes to. But I was like, no, I'm not just gonna take something now because society tells me like this is the kind of job I should have, or because someone else would be like, oh wow, like how can you say no to that? But no, it's not fully aligned, and it just means that there's another yes that feels more right later. So I'm really gonna try to have that with me also. I do want to like work hard with Julia and to be like striving for these goals as well. But in a more like mindful way, and remember why I do this is just to also take time for for myself. And if I want to inspire and encourage others to have retreat in their like everyday lives, since that is what we try to do, like have this retreat experience in our everyday lives, like no need to go for a long travel or a trip. It's affordable. Then I also need to make sure that I continue to put that into myself, so I can also be inspired for more with Julia and maybe other projects as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's so important, especially because you're figuring this out like so like early on. You know, I feel like for me, only the last like 2 years was that I was like, I need to take care of myself.
Yeah. But that is also like a never-ending journey.
Yeah.
I think there will never come a time where we say like, oh yes, now I'm done. Like now I did my self-love and my self-care. Like it's every day and every week and every year, because there will always be transitions in lives. There will be new experiences, new learnings, new people. So yeah, it's always like a new reflection. But
Absolutely.
if we can learn from what we go through, which we try to do, of course, then maybe it's a little bit more, yeah, smooth into the other learnings as well.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it is an everyday thing. And I feel like Juno helps really in doing that too, because having these classes here is like such a great thing. I'm always like, I'm like, as much as I am ambitious, I'm also, I can be like the laziest person ever.
But that is good. It comes back to also with saying no and take like
Yeah.
smart decisions rather than you're
Yeah.
saying like yes to everything. I mean, I'm saying this also now, like learning from my own experience, like back in corporate as well. Like yes, 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 like pushing through. But sometimes it's even better to be a bit lazy and do like one smart move for the better outcome.
Yeah.
Rather than just like, oh, I'm so ambitious, I'm gonna say yes to everything, I'm so hungry for more. Like,
And the idea, I think it's like if the idea of being lazy, like that's probably not the greatest word, but like maybe not being as active wasn't as such like a taboo, terrible thing for people to do, they would do it more often. Like last year, you know, we moved in February. In April is when we had our first guests, and we had guests off and on from April to September. So the whole year, pretty much, it felt like. And then in September, you know, we had weddings and, you know, like little mini trips that we were planning and stuff like that. And so the last few months from October to December, I felt like I was like, I haven't really been around or like meeting with people that live here. I've been just entertaining friends from home. So that's why I was like in this like yes mode,
yeah.
you know, and even leading up to your retreat, like I had said I did stuff the weekend before, like Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And then the weekend before that, I was moving. So I was like doing so much stuff. And like we had like friends that coming to visit and like Barcelona friends coming to like visit the new apartment and stuff like that. So it was like so many things that were happening. And I realized like I hadn't had a full weekend at the apartment since we'd moved in, where I wasn't running around going places. And so as much as I was like, I know I need this, I was like, but I'm going to recharge in a different way this time. And I'm just going to stay home. And I did. And I found a little bit more peace. I obviously had FOMO looking at the stories and stuff.
There will be other
I know, but I was like, you know, there's going to be other ones if not. But yeah, it's just trying to really sort of like make that definitive, you know, decision for yourself.
Yeah. Forecast ourselves a little bit. Like, I'm not
Exactly.
going to do that because I know how I will feel afterwards. And that's also learning from experience. Like, okay, I know that I was like pushing through and like I can just do that one thing more. But then I know now that okay, it's better to stop before my body tells me to stop, but before it feels too much. So I think it was for sure
that was
that
definitely
you took the weekend for yourself.
I know that if I had like gone through this, because we had friends over like that Friday, then I would have gone to your retreat. Then I was supposed to go hiking that Sunday, and then someone was supposed to come over on Sunday. And like I actually like didn't, I've been wanting to hike for forever. I had a friend that introduced me to some girls that go hiking a lot, and they invited me. And I was so excited, but then like the day came and I was like, I'm not gonna remind them that they invited me. Like I'm just gonna like like, you know, if they hit me up, I'll just be like, oh my God, I forgot kind of deal. Because I just felt like I needed to like we don't have that much furniture still in our house, but I was like, I need to just sit on the furniture that I do have and just not do anything. And it was like, it was it was wonderful.
Yeah.
But the next one I will definitely be at.
Yeah, and we do have now also doing the last prepping for the first one for now 2026.
Okay.
Yeah, so our last one, as I said, was more like grounding, end of the year, like intentions for the new year. And this new one I want to do as a kickstart for the new year. So instead of grounding, I want it to be more with power yoga, a workshop with women's health, maybe also going into the menstrual cycle, like how it could be aligned with productivity as well.
Okay.
Be able to make sure that we now during this year do the mindful work and yeah, in a mindful way, syncing our productivity as well.
Yeah.
And find some inspiration there. So yeah, maybe that one could be something.
I'm always learning new things about my menstrual cycle, which I think is always like really great because I think it's like, at least in the States, as far as like education, you know, they don't do a lot of it. You know, it's kind of like a like learn as you go.
Yeah, and it's also just like, okay, you will have your period and that's 1 week.
Yeah.
And that's that.
Yeah.
But there is nothing about like what
tell you-
happens before, after, like it's a full cycle. Like it's not only 1 week. And this is what I think. I don't know a lot about it. Like I want to learn more.
Same.
That's why I also want to do this retreat and create this space for it. So I'm not sitting here as an expert now, but
soon,
hopefully both of us. But what I do want to learn more about and what I like saw a little bit on so far was again with productivity as well, and the energy also, how it's so different throughout the cycle, and that we do need to like align our lives to it, as well as food, that we need to eat more calories during certain times, otherwise we will feel tired. And if we don't know about this, then of course, like how can we operate in a world, coming back to what you said also with men and how they can just like push through without having this cycle, and we are expected to do the same, but then when we are there, like we cannot show up because we are not the same like throughout the month.
We're totally different person. I mean, one of the biggest things I learned this last year was the red meat thing, which I didn't know about before. One of my girlfriends told me, because I was just like, I am like a ravenous, gluttonous, like 5-year-old child about my period. Like anything sugar coated, like I need it in my mouth, you know? And my friend was like, oh, that usually means like you're not eating enough meat. And I was like, oh, okay. So now knowing that and being conscious of that, when I start to feel those cravings come in, whether a couple of days or the week before my period or even during, I just make sure I'm like eating more burgers or steak or something like that. And I feel such a significant difference. Like I also think that there's sort of this like taboo about like red meat, you know? So people are always trying to like steer away from it. And for me, like I grew up in the countryside. Like I'm from a farm family. Like we love our red meat. But everyone, you know, is always like looking down on you, especially in New York. So I have stopped eating as much red meat as I would.
Also after trends and of course.
And now I'm just like, why? Because clearly my body needs it and craves it. And like in order for me to have a less shitty period, you know, like I need to have these things. And so it does make me wonder, like, what are other things I can do?
Exactly. I think there's a lot, and like I want to learn more about it. So so that's what I will try to create a space for and learn more. But yeah, I think really like if we can again know more about it, try to align our lives accordingly to the cycle, but not like push through or like force ourselves. It comes with training as well. Like some days it's just like, oh, I cannot do this like cardio training, or sometimes when I even do yoga, which I love, I can feel like, oh, I would want some more. And then maybe if we know more from where we are in the cycle, then could also align like workouts, food, lifestyle, work.
You can just be even more powerful.
And happy.
That's always the happy.
That is the goal.
So you have a lot going on in 2026. I'm excited to attend a retreat. I'm excited to potentially collab on some retreat.
I'm looking forward to discuss.
Yes, I'm excited maybe for another Dr. Do visit together.
Yeah.
Something that would be fun too.
Maybe some brainstorming last.
At Dr. Do, I would
Yeah.
love that. But where can everybody find you online? Where can they keep up with you? All of that good stuff.
Yeah, so we are on Instagram, Solia Retreats, and also working on the last details for our website. So there you can also very soon find more information about our past retreat experiences and the ones that are coming now also. I do want to have like different focus and themes on each retreat and like different locations. So whatever fits into everyone's lives. So yeah.
Okay, great. I love that. And of course, you guys can always follow us at High On Feminism. Be sure to check out the website, which has a bunch of news stuff, articles, some fun little goodies you can try out. But thank you, Kornelia, for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.